So the other week on the show, we talked about how they are currently building a bunch of former warehouses that they're retrofitting to become ICE concentration camps. Okay? I believe the number we came across in the articles we read, it was 23 different former warehouses that are becoming concentration camps. NPR even reported on one of these places where it's like the town storage facility and the federal government is just taking it. They're just stealing it. And they're going, this is ours now. And they're going to turn that into a concentration camp. And the town is like, wait, excuse me? What? What are you talking about? What are you going to do? That's insane. That's insane. Well, apparently Migrant Insider has this new article out. And Pablo Reports, the Twitter account, he does phenomenal work on this. It's his reporting. And there's this other mechanism that they're using by which they're basically increasing the funding massively. So they have this colossal budget to build out these like ghost concentration camps around the country. Now, this should scare everybody to fucking death, okay? We already know this regime sent people to CCOT in El Salvador. Well, guess what? There's detailed reporting. People were raped and tortured there. They were raped and tortured. They were so desperate, they cut their hands, were bleeding, and would write messages into their on their sheets with the blood from their hand. This is a nightmare. This is an absolute nightmare, what we're talking about. Not only that, they also had Alligator Alcatraz, which many people, I think, were correctly calling Alligator Auschwitz. Now, I believe that was eventually shut down by the courts. But it was, this big, long legal battle, and about 4,000 immigrants are missing after being sent to Alligator Auschwitz. 4,000. 4,000. And nobody even talks about that. Nobody even talks about that. I'm sorry. That is disgusting in the sense that our media is not doing their job and our Democratic politicians are not doing their job. If you're not... 4,000 people went missing at a place where they bragged about the brutality and the sadism of it. The whole point of Alligator Alcatraz was to be sadistic. Every time it rained, the place would flood. Okay? Just the same as all these other places. Moldy bread, fucking food with worms in it. You don't get taken to get your medicine if you have healthcare needs. They don't take you to the hospital when you're sick. Okay? People getting all sorts of diseases in there because it's unsanitary conditions. And nobody even talks about this, okay? But this gets even darker. I know you're going, hold on, Kyle. How can it get darker than literal concentration camps? Oh, it can. Oh, it can. And it's going to. I hope you're ready. Here we go. Medical and death. The services extend to medical waste management with specific protocols for biohazard incinerators. Incinerators. So in the reporting on this from Migrant Insider, again, I'll read this for you one more time. In fact, here, I'll click it and make it bigger. Medical and death. The services extend to medical waste management with specific protocols for biohazard incinerators and certified inventory of evidence reports for full-service laundry operations. In other words, in Trump's network of concentration camps, they're building incinerators. 4,000 people are missing from ICE custody. Lawyers can't find them. Family members can't find them. Friends can't find them. There's been at least 40 people who've died in ICE Gestapo custody under Trump's second regime. One of them, there was evidence, was literally lynched, found hanging with his hands tied and his feet tied. And that's just one person. There's horror stories that are beyond imagination. Even other ICE agents have come out. Some of them have retired and resigned from ICE, and they're telling their stories. And they're saying stuff like, look, I'm against undocumented immigration, but this is treating people in a way that is just not, like, you're immoral. You're unethical if you do this thing. This is torture. This is torture. This is taking away their human rights. These are right-wing people who are retiring and going, I've seen this in the history books, if you know what I'm saying. Incinerators in the concentration camps. You know what's so crazy to me? It really is true. There's this old saying, I'm going to butcher it here, but to paraphrase it, one person dying is a tragedy. 1 million people dying is a statistic. And I think we're sort of seeing a bit of that in this second Trump regime. It's like one scandal can hold everybody's attention, and it can become a big deal, and things can change as a result of all the pressure that gets put on them over a single scandal. But what is it when you have, 35 scandals a week? What is that? Well, then no one scandal can get the same public backlash and outrage and ire, and then nothing changes, right? Is that, I forget what they called it. I want to say it was like rolling thunder or something like that, but Steve Bannon had this strategy of like, flood the zone. Just flood the zone, do 20 things per day that they want to scream about and rip their hair out about, and they're only going to be able to talk about 1 or 2, maybe 4 of them at most, okay? And that means you get away with double digits. Double-digit scandals you get away with. The corruption. Think about the corruption. How corrupt can one regime be? Well, like every day you get a new story of, some crypto bullshit where they're robbing their own supporters. Some, foreign billionaires buying his token. Again, money laundering scheme effectively. Trump pardoning the guy CZ from Binance who laundered money for Al-Qaeda because CZ is now in business with him and propping Trump up. Okay? Never mind the resort in Vietnam, the fucking resort in Qatar, like all these different things. All totally illegal. Totally illegal. Never mind his watches, never mind the NFTs, all that. Like all totally illegal. But there's so much of it that people just throw their hands up and they go, I'm out. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to fucking follow all this? How am I supposed to... Like, my outrage meter is broken. It broke. How, like, now it's like nothing can get me outraged because I've seen so many things that are outrageous that, like, what am I supposed to do? Nothing seems to change, right? And that's what they're exploiting in us. That's what they're exploiting in us. They're exploiting that there's so much shit, gonna throw my hands up and go, fuck it, what am I supposed to do? But I don't know, man. Call me old-fashioned. When you start talking about building 23 concentration camps and having incinerators in them, this seems, a level above and beyond almost everything else we've ever talked about. Especially because, don't forget that they're not even, originally people thought, oh, it's okay. They're just talking about going after undocumented immigrant violent criminals, or as they call them, illegal alien violent criminals. Well, it turns out that's bullshit, as all the evidence shows. 86% of the people that ICE has taken are not undocumented immigrant violent criminals. And of the 14% that potentially are, a lot of them are just accused violent criminals. Only a tiny percentage, maybe 5% or less, are actually convicted violent criminals. So that means all these people are being arrested, being detained, some of them being held for literally months, and they no evidence they did anything wrong whatsoever. In fact, according to the courts, at least 4,400 people, it's way more than that, but according to the courts with ongoing lawsuits, at least 4,400 people are totally innocent of any wrongdoing and being held by ICE. So if you think, oh no, this is their problem, this is somebody else's problem, is it? Have you ever said anything anti-Trump publicly? Have you? Because if you have, I kind of think it's your problem. Because remember, they now are implementing what's called NSPM 7, which is this mindset approach of the entire government that Trump put into place, where now instead of the intelligence agencies focusing on ISIS or Al-Qaeda or, neo-Nazi groups, right-wing terrorism, whatever, fill in the blank with actual threats. Instead of doing that, they're now considering anti-Americanism is terrorism, or at least terrorist adjacent. Anti-capitalism, same thing. Anti-Christianity, same thing. If you're an extremist on migration or race or gender, you go on a list. If you're protesting ICE or you're an observer of ICE, you go on a list. I don't think you build out 23 concentration camps unless you're planning on warehousing a hell of a lot of people. Even just dissidents. People who are a thorn in your side. People who annoy the shit out of you, right? And this is where we are. This is where we are in this country. So it's time to wake up. It is time to wake up. 23 concentration camps, and now they're talking about incinerators. Building incinerators and again, Migrant Insider talked about it, and we're talking about it. Good luck finding others who actually bring this up. Because I do feel like there's still this thing in some people's minds where they go, that actually can't happen here, right? The fuck it can't. How many things which you would have said 12 years ago, you would have said, there's no way that could happen here. How many of those things did it already happened? Think about January 6th. Think about the fake elector slate, right? Like, just take that. There was a time, of course, people, there's no way you're going to try to steal an American election. What are you, insane? No one's going to try to steal an American election. Here we are. The guy did it and fucking got away with it. We have a 91-time criminal. He was charged with 91 crimes, Trump was. 34-time convicted felon. Okay? Pedophile, rapist, war criminal is now leading us. He's leading us. Who would have thought if I told you that in fucking 2012 that's what's gonna, you would have been like, what are you, no way, we're not gonna arrest a fucking 34-time felon. What are you, insane? Here we are. Here we fucking are. Here we are. So it's time to wake up. It's time to realize what's going on here, and it's time to fight back against this stuff, because holy cow, we cannot let this continue. We cannot let this continue. And please, Democrats, wakey, wakey. If this doesn't wake you up, I literally don't know what would wake you up, unless you're actually getting shoved into the gas chambers or into the incinerators, as it was. I also wanted to show you guys this, okay? Some of these warehouses, there's now chatter about some of them being specifically for kids. Watch this. Here we go.
Donald Trump and ICE and Homeland Security are building a concentration camp for kids in my backyard. No, I'm not joking. I live in a town called Gainesville, Georgia, and right on the outskirts of Gainesville is a little tiny little parcel called Oakwood, Georgia, where ICE is planning on opening a 1,500-person concentration camp for children. The mayor of Oakwood said he had no choice. The federal government pushed this on him, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I've reached out to 7th District Representative Rich McCormick. So to be fair, I haven't heard back from him. I emailed him and said we need a town hall on this to discuss this, because if this goes through, there will be protests every single day at this facility as they bring immigrant children into this concentration camp. That, by the way, I know this building. It is not built to house human beings. It was built for warehousing. There's a big difference. This is a concentration camp. I can't even believe this is going to be in my backyard. This is a little town in Northeast Georgia. It's not a rich town. It's not a fancy town. It's a little town on a lake. And the people are wonderful. And the hardest working people I know are immigrants. And they're everywhere in this town. They will literally rip this town to pieces the way they tried to rip Minneapolis to pieces. But you know what? Just like the Minnesotans, we will fight back. ICE, stay out of Georgia. If you don't, you're going to regret it. Because the videos of you putting children into a concentration camp are going to go all over social media, and I'll be one of the first people there on a regular basis taking video and showing it to my millions of followers across social media.
And we've already seen examples of that. You guys remember there was the video, I believe it was an immigration attorney who was at one of these detention facilities, who there was like a big protest among the people who are being detained there, and you heard like the screams and the cries and the yelps of the children. And then you had somebody come out and say, oh, you can't record here, you can't record here, to the guy. We played the video on the show. And so, yeah, wake up. Don't ever believe, oh, it can't happen here. It fucking is happening here right now.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.